Gabriel with the Last Huntsman outdoors here. Got the mini Huntsman back there, Gen 2, kind of hiking out here with me. We're just kind of going on a little hike, but I figured I'd do a little bit of a rant here, okay? So, this is going to be kind of wild, off the deep end type of conversation. So, if you're easily triggered or you just don't really know what the hell's going on, I guess you can pay attention. And as you guys know, I've also started a new policy on my channel too. You get 3 gays and you're out. So if you keep acting gay in the comments a few times, I just block you. I got better shit to do than deal with degenerates and the internet or bots. Hey there, Super Saiyan Bear. So what we're going to be talking about today is, I'm going to call it my line in the sand. So what do I mean by that? All right. So we're seeing a sudden rise in technology, especially in the AI technology field. And I call it demon tech. And let me kind of explain where I'm coming from with that. All right. So I think AI is not really anything different than like a Ouija board. So when you mess with a Ouija board, you're essentially, summoning a demon, because a demon doesn't have any power on its own. It has to have you summon it, essentially. And so that's essentially kind of what you're doing with an AI. And so if you want to know what a demon is, just refer to the Book of Enoch. It explains it pretty well. The Bible explains it pretty well. They're just disembodied spirits of Nephilim. And so when you are embodying them with, say, AI, that's essentially kind of what you're doing, is you're giving them a form. So, guys, I know a lot of YouTubers and just people in general are using AI, and obviously it's becoming more and more and more of a part of our society, but I'm not going to use it. I won't use it for my thumbnails. And YouTube even will email me like, oh, use AI, you use AI to make your thumbnail and, it'll promote your video more. It's like, I'm not doing it. If nobody wants to watch my channel, then so be it. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to mess with demon tech, essentially. And, the crazy thing is a lot of people don't realize this. This has all been done before. A lot of people don't realize that when Jesus said it'd be like the days of Noah, he meant that literally. And so a lot of people has this like really Disney World version of Christianity, and they don't realize just what the days of Noah was actually like. And, I'm going to say this, Noah wasn't just a caveman that just somehow managed to build a big ark. I argue that their time frame, they probably had a rival level of technology as we do today. And when you look at a lot of the megalithic structures, pre-flood megalithic structures that's still around, we can't even build a lot of that even today. So that is, something to really think about. Now, we're seeing right now, if you guys have been paying attention to a lot of things, and right off the bat, I'm going to say I'm not like a doomsayer. I'm not a doomsdayer and stuff. And so I will give alternatives and how to deal with this in the future. Like, I always like to have solutions, or at least the best solutions I can think of. But I will mention, with all this AI stuff, you're seeing a lot of these companies starting to cut people's jobs and everything like that. That's actually why I think a lot of the government is going to get cut, is just because, one, they don't contribute to anything and we don't need them anyways. But I think they're going to be able to use AI to replace almost just about any desk job. And, I think we've been seeing that. Daisy folk, I'm in the middle of nowhere, Missouri. How about that? I'm middle of nowhere, Missouri with my little mini Huntsman, next gen mini Huntsman out here. So the sun is kind of like right at the right angle. So sorry about that, guys. I'm trying to use my freaking boonie hat here to block it. But so we're seeing AI replacing a lot of human workers, and eventually it's going to be robotics and stuff too. And so then that's what we have to start thinking, okay, if they're going to put most of the workforce out of work, then do they really need all the people around? Because at first I think they're going to push like, oh, universal basic income and blah, blah, blah. That's not going to last very long. Well, one, the funny money, the Federal Reserve notes ain't going to be worth anything anyways. They're hardly worth anything even now, because Babylon is collapsing and the US dollar is collapsing with it. But I think along with the big AI push, there's also going to be a big depopulation push too. And we're already seeing that with like birth rates and everything like that. But I think the Nephilim powers that be that control things actually behind the scenes, they're going to probably ramp things up to a different level. And so with that being said, I think it's going to be very who of us to not only have a line of work that could potentially be AI proof. Like, let's just be honest, okay? AI is not building a house, AI is not butchering animals. AI is not doing real world shit. And so if you're in the computer technology field as far as work, I'd be looking into getting a new skill set for sure. But, I mentioned the depopulation thing. So I have a few different theories on how they might try to achieve that. So right off the bat, some of the like prepper guys will be like, oh, they're just going to nuke everything. I don't believe that that's going to be the case because, one, they already control everything. So if they nuke it all, they're essentially destroying their own control system. And so, they didn't spend trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars to build this infrastructure and have 5G towers everywhere just to blow it all up. Now, do I disregard the fact that they can potentially, hey, here's a big city of a bunch of, and this is probably from their own thought process, not mine, but a bunch of like useless eaters or something. Yeah, let's just thin that whole thing out, okay? They could probably do that, or I don't even rule out the fact that they could stage a nuke. But I think they'll use famine, biological weapons, and stuff like that. Is kind of more of the method. No, I'm not hunting right now. I'm just out here on a hike going on a wild conspiracy rant. How about that? So with that all being said, I've been saying for a long time, I think people need to try to break away from the Babylonian system as much as possible. And if all possible, get out of debt. Debt is the slave mechanism. They don't need modern slavery when they have everybody in debt and never-ending debt too. And so if you can get out of debt by whichever means possible, and a lot of times that means just consolidating. I think a lot of people, okay, so put something in perspective real quick, okay? I live on one income, my income, and I have a wife and 2 kids, all right? But I am debt free, and I don't necessarily make a lot of money. I don't make a lot of money, but what I've done is tried to live a very modest lifestyle. And so I see a lot of these guys and they're like, oh, I got to send my kids to school so me and my wife can work and blah, blah, blah. And, my kids are turning into gay communists from the school system and I don't know what to do. And it's like, okay, why are you sending your kids to the public school? And, they're like, well, we both got to work, and I got a brand new truck and my wife has a brand new car and all this silly crap. And it's like, so you're selling your kids for that brand new truck or in that brand new car. Like, you don't need a brand new truck or a brand new car. A lot of people are complaining like, oh, the price of a truck now is $100,000. If everybody just said, fuck you and your new truck for a couple of years, some of these car companies would actually have to make things, somewhat decently affordable. Like, I honestly think people need to just consolidate a lot of things, and this is one that a lot of Americans don't want to hear, but, for a long, long, long time, people had multi-generational households. That's been, time and millennia. That's how people consolidated wealth and preserved, generational wealth. Snuffles, TVs, people spends $20 a day on Starbucks and fast food every day. Some people do. I mean, I will say some people do, but at the same time, I also see a lot of boomers saying that, and they don't comprehend that the value of the dollar has literally lost all of its value, essentially. They don't understand that we're in Weimar Republic 2.0, and they don't comprehend that even in the last 4 or 5 years, the cost of everything has doubled and quadrupled. I have no debt, and I don't buy Starbucks at all because it's carcinogenic trash and it's satanic garbage. But even that, is hard to get by. And so I see a lot of people that, especially the boomer generation, and it's just because they kind of are not recognizing the extreme inflation that we're dealing with. Okay, the Wandering Dutchman, and once your communities is more self-sufficient, we can start thinking about parallel economies where we refuse a global digital. Yeah, no, I agree with that. People need to start thinking about how to break away from the system itself, because the system is satanic. The system is eventually going to try to drag us all into a mark of the beast type of system. And, I started this live stream off as saying, this is my line in the sand. And my line in the sand is, I am not getting infused with any kind of technology. And I'm not using AI because I think, I think AI is demonic, honestly. And I see a lot of people, even people in like, quote, the conservative, prepper, even Christian and leanings, and they're all using AI and hyping up AI and stuff. And it's like, do you not have any discernment whatsoever? AI is basically communing with a disembodied spirit. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, this is kind of a wild conspiracy rant. It's not really much of a knife thing. Actually, I will go into the knife world a little bit. So I did see somebody mention, actually, it was Greg Medford, I think, did a video recently. And this ain't me like attacking Medford knives or Greg Medford or anything like that, but he was just like, oh, nobody's buying our knives because, they're all just a bunch of soy boys and such and blah, blah, blah. And, really typical boomer type of response. And the thing is, he's not totally wrong there, but, I know a lot of knife companies that are selling knives decently, but I also know a lot that aren't. And the thing is nobody's buying knives, just like nobody's hardly buying guns and nobody's hardly buying cars and nobody's hardly buying anything because the economy is collapsing. You can't have a total complete collapse and devaluation of the dollar and then everybody, he's still buying a bunch of stuff. Most people are struggling to get by with rent, mortgages, groceries, and stuff like that. So, you know, a knife is really top of the list. Speaking of knives too, what I'm carrying out here, well, got the primitive bear knives, skunk ape. This thing is absolutely epic. It's, I think, a 9.5-inch blade of good old 80 CRV2. Absolutely love this thing. Don't got a video out on it yet. I'm planning on getting one out there eventually. And it's rocking out a Michael Spanger's little leather drop leg sheath. One I got concealed carry is the Very Good Knife Co. Counter-Strike and AEBO. Guys, he had a drop on these. I'm pretty sure they sold out pretty quickly, but of course with Very Good Knife Company, you can always email them, order whatever you want, whatever scales you want, and his turnaround time is really quick. I think most of the times when I've ordered a knife from him, it's a week or two, which for a custom maker is actually really good. The Counter-Strike honestly has become one of my favorite just EDC little concealed carry knives. I've been taking, I've actually have two of these now. I've been taking my 80 CRV2 one out on my hunts with me and stuff, but I'm going to probably take this AEBO one out with me. But it reminds me of like the little mini K-bar buck that we always wanted. But Very Good Knife Company, he's seriously my favorite knife maker for a reason. And of course I got one more knife on me, a folder, little Ontario Rat 2. Guys, I've been a fan of these Ontario Rat 2, who's honestly they're nothing fancy to write home about, but you know, for a pocket knife, most of the times I just use a pocket knife for just, you know, beater stuff. Wandering Dutchman, you have a good day too. Sometime you might have to let me know, are you actually in the Netherlands or you just Dutch ancestry? But kind of lost my train of thought. So, you know, as we were kind of going down the rabbit hole though, okay, so you're probably kind of behind enemy lines there in the Netherlands. I've been hearing a lot of ill things out of Europe as of late, which is kind of sad. Yeah, buddy? Not going to show his face, but I got a mini huntsman out here with me. The next gen mini huntsman. My boy named Gideon. He's a little warrior king. Yeah, well, I think every country has its fair share of corruption. Europe, unfortunately, I don't think ever truly broke away from the feudalist mindset, and that's what I see with a lot of Europeans, is they still just have that kind of we're subservient to the Lord type of mindset, exception for they don't call them lords now, they just call them, you know, parliaments or politicians or whatever. And sadly I see and not all Europeans obviously, but there's a lot of Europeans I've seen that's kind of had that mentality. And yeah, speaking of firearms, I got Glock 19, 2 spare mags on me right now. It's been kind of my main go-to. Oh. Turning around, my little guy just stopped in the middle of the trail. He does that. I'll get moving for a bit and then he'll just stop. This is my own trail though. This is right along the edge of my property, so nobody else is coming down here, which is kind of nice. Guys, 3 things to truly invest in. And I know a lot of these like fake characters on the internet and TV screen, the television, you know, they'll all tell you who, you know, invest in this, invest in stocks, blah, blah, blah. No, invest in gold, guns, and ground. those three things will outlast empires, essentially. And when I say, guns, I mean whatever weapons you potentially can have, ground. They're not making more of this. They're not making more of this. And, you don't have to follow their kingdom. You can make your own kingdom, essentially. And that's what we should strive to do. And it's something that I've been doing for a long time. It's not something you can do overnight. I've been kind of doing this whole farm homestead things, farming and homestead stuff and wilderness stuff for a long time. And, it's still just a never-ending, continuous work in progress. And that's why freedom is kind of a weird thing for a lot of people, because freedom requires responsibility, and a lot of people don't want that responsibility, and so they'd rather ask the master, the Lord, of what's going on, or please master, take care of me. Hey Tim, what's up? We're kind of discussing AI, demon technology, and the potential coming depopulation agenda, because once the AI, demon tech, and the robotics start taking over a lot of people's jobs and stuff like that, they're not going to really need a lot of people. Now, one of the things I've been questioning this myself, and this kind of goes to a lot of the corporatist and people that's actually looking to make money. They're probably more so in the grand scheme of things, the mid-level types on the pyramid. But once you replace a lot of people and displace them of their jobs and money and everything like that, who the fuck is even going to buy your shit? That's something I kind of sometimes think about. It's like, do they not even think about that? It's like, oh yeah, we're going to save some money by, getting rid of all these jobs. And if you know what I'm talking about, look into it. Amazon's cutting a shit ton of people. The government obviously is, which they needed to, quite frankly. UPS, there's just dozens and dozens and dozens of companies that's just mass laying off a bunch of people. And quite frankly, a lot of it's just desk jobs that can easily be replaced with AI. But the problem is eventually that's going to translate into robotics and stuff. And, even for me, I kind of start to think okay, maybe I need to develop some other kind of skill just in case, even if my job is kind of threatened. Now, my job, I work in a gun company. I work on CNC stuff. I make guns, essentially. So, as long as people... Okay, Amazon just shut down New World and their whole dev team. A live service game just deleted, and the whole studio is toast. Yeah, Amazon is heavily consolidating, and like I said, I think a lot of it's just going to be AI. It's just I think a lot of the media is eventually going to just be nothing but AI slop. I think a lot of the games, unfortunately, is going to be AI slop. And, guys, Tim plays game. He has a YouTube channel. Go check him out. Awesome channel. He's more of a gaming channel, but he's a Marine vet like I am. And he and I went to high school and grew up together and stuff. So good, longtime friend and everything. But Tim, you probably can tell me the same thing, but is it just me, but does a lot of games freaking suck now? And I don't play a lot of games anymore because I think they all suck. Quite frankly, I still just play, when I do play a game, it's mostly just Skyrim, Oblivion, and Fallout, and hell, most of the popular games are remakes of games that's been out for 20 years. And so it's a lot of it is just goy slop anymore. Some of you might catch my meaning there. Hillbilly from the Swamp eventually the entire world will be controlled by one AI brain in just a matter of time. Yeah, I actually think that's probably going to be called the image of the beast. I think... Now, I don't think the Antichrist will be AI specifically, but I think AI will specifically play into the Antichrist role, if that makes any sense. Definitely when you kind of start to think about how AI directly correlates with demons specifically. So, yeah, I think we're going to be kind of doing Days of Noah 2.0 type of thing. It's just going to be a more gay version of it, essentially. Well, Jesus will eventually come back, Tim. He definitely will. I don't know what the hell Ukraine has to do with any of this. Ukraine's just basically a cesspool money pit that they're... You guys might look into this, actually. They're essentially genociding the Slavic population throughout Ukraine to make it a colony of Israel. Just kind of delve into that a little bit. I am a outspoken critic of the synagogue of Satan. I'll put it simply that way. Okay, Hillbilly from the Swamp, you agree with me. What's some things that's on your radar? Actually, guys, in general, what's some things on your radar? What do you guys think that's coming next? What's coming down the pipeline? Because I think once they start instituting a lot of the AI stuff and pushing a lot of people out of the workforce, I think they're gonna have to do a depopulation agenda, because they can't just have a bunch of people on welfare, quite frankly. And I kind of tend to lean on that they are probably going to do a famine is probably going to be the main one, and or biological weapons. But if you guys got any ideas, throw them out there. I'm very curious to see what you guys are thinking. I know some of the people that are kind of tuned into my channel and stuff, we're a little bit more of the thinking type of people on here. I had some notes here. Yeah, Kenny, I'm not going to say that, but yeah, for sure. 109 bars, right? But just, okay, just a sec. You guys still there? I had to look at something on my phone real quick. Hey, buddy. Hey, don't throw my hat down. My little guy here, he likes to wear my hat, and sometimes he'll just like take it off randomly, and then it's like, oh, well, you just dropped my hat on the trail. Hey, Gideon, come on, buddy. Come on. I'll hold it for you then. And guys, Dad's life is, well, it's Dad's life. I'm sure you know how that can be. My oldest boy, Gideon, he's 2.5. And I got little Enoch, and he's 7 months now. So I got two very hyper little boys, and I'm damn near 40. So, yep, that's kind of how it is. But, and hello from Romania. How's Romania doing these days? Nice, nice. And Tim, you decided to go out to the Kansas side of things. How's freaking Kansas? But, you know, as I was saying earlier, so, yeah, I'd never liked Kansas. I've drove through there a few times, and that's basically it. as I started this off with, the whole live stream off, you know, my line in the sand is basically going to be, I'm going to put a cap on what technology I'm willing to use. AI is a technology I'm not going to use. I think it's devil tech, so I'm not going to use it. I am never, ever, ever, ever going to put any kind of implantable in my body. And sadly, with like the transhumanist crap that's eventually going to manifest, I think that's going to be the role of things. And I think eventually it's going to be both technological and genetic. And so people's going to be basically half cyborg Nephilim hybrids. And I'm not going to do it. So, you know, there might be kind of a new class of people that's more or less like the Amish or Mennonites, but we're just like, hey, 2020 was like our max tech. We're not doing anymore. Yeah, I'm not getting plugged into the matrix. I want to live in reality, and honestly, I think it's a one-way road to straight to hell. That's my opinion, but here's the thing too, is I think they're going to eventually make it very lucrative. I think they're going to make it to where, you know, there's going to be a lot of benefits. A lot of benefits. I think they probably might even make the world so miserable and depressing for the average person that's still trying to chase after the Babylonian system, that a lot of people will want to be just plugged into the matrix just because they just don't want to deal with the like daily BS. JLCP, they are really teasing Project Bluebeam. Yes, I agree with that. They gotta do a fake space invasion, whatever type of stuff. Because I mean, here's the thing: you know, days of Noah, fallen angels, Nephilim, all them came and they're like, "Hey, we're the gods," blah blah blah. They can't play that role again. Can they say, "Hey, we're the aliens"? Maybe. And Missouri Survival, what's up? Hey, we're talking about like AI, depopulation, technology, stuff like that, and basically how I'm not going to have anything to do with AI or implantable technology of any kind. And basically, I think we're going to see like a new class of people eventually rise up that's just going to be like, hey, we're the traditionalists and we don't believe in merging with machines or some retarded crap. Tactical muffin top, stay vigilant, get fit, stack food and water, build a trusted community and work together. Yeah, I think as Babylon more or less collapses, that's what's going to end up happening. It's just like when Rome collapsed, you know, the people that had small kingdoms kind of breaking away from Babylon actually did fairly decent versus the people who stuck with Rome till the very end ended up becoming slaves. So come on, buddy, get out of the water. I got my little boy here trying to just like splash around in the water, and it's like, it's not too cold, but it's cool enough to not want to be in the water. Hey, come on, buddy. Hey, you want to play with Daddy's flashlight? Come on. I use the flashlight to like kind of carrot him away from the water, redirect him. Come on, buddy. He gave me his little sword. I don't know why my little boy, he wants to play with swords and little toy guns and stuff constantly. I probably had a big role in that. So I'm constantly buying him little foam swords and stuff. He's pretending he's fighting monsters and everything like that. Yeah. But everybody should be trying to kind of build their little own communities, essentially. Hey, get in. Come on, buddy. Come on. Oh, crap. He's not listening. My little guy, I swear. he gets hell-bent on something, and I'd say he's stubborn for sure. Hey, come on, let's go the other way. Well, I was kind of in that same thing for a while, Tim. One-man army type of thing. And, you know, the thing is, it always starts off as one, and you just got to do the right thing and build what you can and then bring others into the fold. You know, that's really all you can do. So, JL, you mentioned a sweet sword. Obviously, it's fake. It's a toy. But I have actually been considering getting into some like sword content. Not a lot, but I've been into swords for a long time. I really like swords still, and I'm actually going to be getting a new one before too long. So it's actually going to be a zombie tools sword, which if you guys ever check those out, they're made in Montana. They're really nice. They're kind of more like tactical, modern zombie apocalypse looking swords, which I think they're cool looking. Obviously not historically accurate, but they're cool looking. But I think I'm going to probably redo a video I did a while ago. I did like melee weapons for SHTF. And when I get that, I'm probably going to do that. Dude, my apocalypse vehicle is a 20-year-old Toyota Highlander that with child seats in it. Hopefully, I plan to not do a whole lot of driving other than just necessary stuff. I'm kind of more so into the homesteading. I'm gonna build my own, kingdom type of thing. A lot of people has like the bug out type of mentality, and here's the thing. Obviously, if you have to bug out, but just realize if you do bug out, you're most likely going to only have very minimal stuff, which, stuff can include food and water and stuff that you actually need to survive. But also, when you do that, you're kind of more or less a refugee. So, it's just something to kind of take note on. And it's why I mentioned earlier, not only economically, but even from a survival standpoint too, it might be beneficial for people to consolidate family and have multi-generational households and stuff like people's done for thousands and thousands of years, just for a survival standpoint. And, when you do that, you can potentially say like, hey, let's do 100 acres, or hey, let's do a couple 100 acres, and bro, your house is over here, and my house is over here, and well, yeah, and bugging out, Super Saiyan Bear, you're right. Bugging out, especially with like wife and kids and little ones especially, it's just not very realistic. And, if you get stuck on the highway and have to ditch your vehicle, then it's like, okay, can your wife hike, 20, 30 miles? Can your kids hike 20, 30 miles? And most people, that's just a big no-go. And so it's why I think, trying to build something more or less for me, my home is like what most people would consider a bug out, and so that's what I try to do. Now, when you live out in the country too, or way out rural like I do, sometimes, jobs are limited, and so you don't necessarily make the most money, but cost of living is usually cheaper, and you can provide for yourself more, and so it's just kind of trying to live a more minimalist lifestyle. And JC said, no hope but Jesus. And that's true. We don't got a snowball's chance in hell without Jesus. So definitely that's the main thing. I do think that people needs to, do what they can, yeah, God inspired Noah to build the ark, but Noah did build the ark. So, sometimes you still got to do what you got to do. And some people will hype up this like fake rapture crap, and that's not even anywhere in the Bible. And when you look into the people that pushed that crap, then it was literal satanic Freemasons that rewrote parts of the Bible to try to deceive Christians intentionally. Same thing with a lot of the pacifist crap, and same thing with a lot of the Israel worshiping crap too. And Rekka, you're 2 gays in already. I've already told people you get 3 gays and you're blocked. So you got 2 gays already. So, one more gay and you're blocked. That's how I do things on this channel. Commenting and coming to my channel is a privilege that I give. Yeah, drugs are gay as fuck. I don't deal with the gay shit on here. So you get 3 gays, 1 or 2 gays, it's like, okay, you're just joking. 3 gays, okay, you're not joking, you're just being gay, so you get blocked. That's how I do things. I was talking with some people, and I said the 3 gays and you're blocked type of thing, and so many people thought it was comical. On Missouri Survival, you're probably right. It is too many gays. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt that... okay, yeah. That was your 3rd. Anyways, 3 gays, bye. Yep, that's how I do things. 3 gays and you're out. And here's the thing, guys. I don't sit there and argue with people on the internet. I absolutely refuse to do it. And I used to get caught up in that, like, oh, I'm going to prove my point and tell these people off. But here's the thing. One, a lot of them are just degenerates to begin with, so they don't even deserve your time. It's not worth your time. But then the other thing is, too, some of these people are honestly just demonically possessed. And they want you to feed their energy. And so they're just like some little energy vampire, like trying to suck off of whatever energy you can give them on a keyboard. And it's just not even worth it. And so I block them. But also, and I've found this to be true too, a lot of them are honestly just bots. I know for a fact that YouTube and some of the algorithms and stuff will just have bots to troll people. And I don't know why they do it. I think they're gay too. So, it's probably what it is. And yeah, I mean, there's so many other people and that's on the internet that it's not even worth it. My thoughts is why would you come to a channel that you don't even like? Like, I got better shit to do with my time than I got better shit to do with my time than just get on some channel that I don't like. Like, there's other channels that I don't like. There's other knife channels, other outdoor channels. There's knife makers and channels that I absolutely hate. I don't go troll them and stuff because I got better shit to do with my life. Whatever. Let them be gay in their little world. I'll do, my wild huntsman stuff type of shit out here, and they can do their keyboard, whatever freaking desk table type of reviews, and be like, guys, this knife is really good because I put my fat hands all over it. It's like, okay, yeah, call that a review if you want. Timber. And J.O., like I said, I agree. I think a lot of them are just bots. I think there's a lot of bots out there. Jacob Peterson actually was just showing me today. He had a guy trolling his channel. And, he looked up the account, and the guy made the account legit 15 minutes before he made the comments. And so I don't know what the hell is the deal, but people were literally making accounts just to troll. And it's like, okay, so you're going to take the time to make an email, make a YouTube account just to get blocked. And Drew Thomas, you got one gay strike already. I don't know what you mean by LARPing. If you look at my background, I've done some real things, not a lot, but some real things. And this is honestly how I normally dress. Like, people can stop me on the street and it's usually t-shirt or flannel and Glock 19 on me and a boonie hat half the times. Like, I don't even got anything else on me besides just Glock 19 pew pew and a few big knives like this guy here. But yeah, Drew, you are officially one gay strike. The whole LARPing thing is kind of well, Glocks are gay now. Yeah, Glock went like really gay. I actually think the Glock clones are going to be kind of the future, like the PSA Dagger and the Ruger RXM, but Ruger's kind of gay too. But yeah, Glock went like hardcore gay, sadly. I like a PSA Dagger, and to be totally honest, I think they got better ergonomics than a Glock. Yeah, the only top knife review I like was Nut and Fancy. Yeah, so Nut and Fancy, and there's a few others, like Outdoor Analyst is really good too. And, you know, he does like a tabletop, but he also inserts like real footage, and you can tell that the knife was actually used. What I mean by a lot of tabletop reviewers is guys that you could tell they've never even used the knife or gear, whatever, and they sit there and talk about like, oh, this knife is like really good, blah blah blah. It's like, dude, you've never even used it, and your chin is interfering with your mic. Like, your double chin is like jiggling into the mic. Like, shut up, dude. You know. I did enjoy my dagger, but Glock for me. Yeah, I've had a couple daggers, and I like them. I do like the Glock overall more. Well, actually, last time I showed a pew pew on a live stream, it got my channel blocked for a moment, so I'm not gonna show it. But I do got the Glock 19 in here. I like this little chest pack. It's the 511 Skyweight chest pack. Really like it. When I'm out hiking and hunting and working on the farm and stuff, it's honestly just the most comfortable way to carry a pew pew on me, in all honesty. Normally when I'm out and about or at work, I'm concealed carrying though, and a appendix carry with a T-Rex arms holster, which actually, you know what, screw it, I don't care. I got the T-Rex arms holster in here. So the way I like to carry this is I like to carry the holster and the gun in here, put a little piece of 550 cord in there, so when I just grab the gun, I can rip it out and it kind of retains the holster. But then what that also does is allow me to, like, if I need to, I could ditch the chest pack and then still go concealed carry. Yeah, YouTube has gotten a lot more strict on knife and gun stuff. Honestly, if you read their guidelines, it's not like, I mean, it's still stupid and annoying, but it's not too bad. The problem is YouTube just kind of makes up shit as they go. And sometimes they'll flag your stuff, even though it doesn't bother any of their guidelines and stuff. And so they're not consistent with it, is the issue with it. And yes, I do think, Kenny, they need to have the Gluger. The Gluger needs to be like a real thing. So me and Kenny's been speculating this gun called the Gluger, and it's basically a Luger Glock hybrid. So it has like a Glock lower that takes Glock mags, but then it has a Luger upper on it. So it has like a toggle action on it with a fixed barrel and everything. I don't know. It'd be like super cool. And of course you need like a really badass, like Hugo Boss designed uniform when you're rocking out the Gluger. It'd be really cool. It needs to be a black uniform with some skulls and little lightning bolts on it and everything. It'd be like super badass for the Gluger build, right? Gotta carry the Gluger. Well, guys, I've been on here for about 50 minutes now. I usually like to keep the live streams right around about an hour or so. It kind of, I start rambling and just trying to find shit to talk about after too long. So, guys, thank you for hopping on and everything. Like I said, I wanted to kind of talk about, you know, AI, technology, possible depopulation stuff. And I think that's going to be on the horizon. So, guys, just be prepared both physically and spiritually. Jesus Christ is King. And as always,